Joseph Carter stood at the viewing window of the shuttle, watching as Proxima Station grew larger. The massive space station looked like a metal flower with petals stretching out in all directions. Lights sparkled across its surface, home to over 300 alien species. Joseph straightened his simple blue uniform and touched the small Earth pin on his chest. First time seeing it up close. Susan Miller asked, joining him at the window. Her red hair was pulled back tight, and her eyes showed both wonder and worry. "Yes," Joseph said. "Hard to believe we kept ourselves hidden from them for so long." Alan Wright, the team's xenobiologist, looked up from his datapad. "Remember, act impressed, but not too impressed. We're supposed to be the new kids." His fingers moved nervously through his beard as he spoke. The shuttle docked with a gentle bump. When the doors opened, the humans were hit with strange smells and sounds. Tall, blue-skinned aliens with 4 arms guided them through wide halls where creatures of all shapes moved about. Some walked on many legs, others floated in the air, and some rolled on wheel-like limbs. "Welcome to Proxima Station, humans," said the blue alien guide. "The council waits for you." The council chamber was a huge round room, with rising seats filled with aliens. In the center was a small platform where Joseph and his team now stood, feeling very small. "So these are humans," said a voice that seemed to echo inside their heads. The speaker was High Counselor Drestor of the Zinthari, a thin gray being with eyes that glowed green. The Zinthari were one of the oldest races in the galaxy, and they looked at humans like adults might look at small children. Joseph stepped forward and bowed. "We bring greetings from Earth and the United Space Command. We hope to join this great council and share in peaceful trade with all species." Laughter rippled through the chamber. Not kind laughter. "Peaceful trade," Drestor said with a smile that showed too many teeth. "What could your primitive species offer us? Your ships barely reach light speed. Your weapons are simple projectiles. Your planets are few." Joseph felt his face grow hot, but kept his voice calm. "We have much to learn, yes, but Earth has unique resources and—" "Earth has resources indeed," cut in another voice. This came from a large, red-scaled being with a head like a lizard. "The Krell Dominion has studied your system from afar. Water, metals, biological diversity, all interesting." Susan touched Joseph's arm in warning. They both knew what that hungry look meant. After 3 hours of questions that felt more like mockery, the humans were dismissed. As they walked back to their shuttle, Alan whispered, "They don't suspect anything, do they?" Joseph shook his head. "No, our plan worked perfectly. They see exactly what we wanted them to see." What the Council didn't know is that humans had discovered alien observation satellites near Earth 80 years ago. Since then, Earth had built a false image of itself. The primitive ships, the basic weapons, the limited colonies on Mars and Europa, all carefully crafted lies. Hidden in the asteroid belt and beyond Neptune were massive shipyards. Earth's real fleet used technology stolen from alien probes and improved upon by human engineers. The small team on Proxima Station was just for show. In a private room off the council chamber, Drestor met with leaders of the Krell Dominion. "The humans will be easy to conquer," he said. "Their system has what we need." "How soon?" asked the Krell commander. "Let them think they have a chance at diplomacy first," Drestor replied. "Then we take what we want." Neither of them noticed the tiny drone the size of an insect that recorded their every word, sending the information back to Joseph's ship. 2 months passed since Joseph Carter and his team returned from Proxima Station. They brought back recordings of the Council's private plans. Now, on a clear morning in Geneva, President Olivia Ward looked out over the lake from her office window. A message alert broke the silence. "Madam President, they're here," said her aide. On the large screen, an alien face appeared. High Counselor Drestor's gray skin seemed to glow in the strange light of his ship. "People of Earth," the alien said with a cold smile, "the Galactic Council has decided your fate. You will surrender all mining rights to your system's resources. Your colonies on Mars and Europa will be placed under Council control. Your military, such as it is, will be disbanded. President Ward, a tall woman with short gray hair and sharp eyes, stood straight and calm. And if we refuse these terms, Drestor laughed, then you will be removed. We have done this many times before with species far more advanced than yours. You have one Earth day to decide, though there is only one sensible choice. The screen went dark. President Ward turned to her advisors. Activate Protocol Chimera. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a command center hidden from alien scans, Fleet Admiral Richard Powell received the order. He was a broad-shouldered man with dark skin and a scar across his cheek from the early days of space exploration. "It's time," he said to General Laura Garcia beside him. She nodded, her eyes hard as she entered her command codes. Across the solar system, hidden bases came alive. In the shadows of asteroids and the dark side of moons, massive ships powered up their engines. For 50 years, humanity had built in secret, using technology gleaned from alien probes and improved by human engineers. The next day, 3 Council ships entered Earth orbit. They carried representatives to oversee what they expected would be a simple surrender ceremony. "Strange," said the Krell commander as they approached Earth. "We detect only 5 small defense vessels rising to meet us. The humans truly are weak." But as they watched, a massive ship appeared from behind Earth's moon. It was sleek and black, 3 times the size of the largest Council vessel. On its side was written the name Eclipse. "Impossible," whispered the commander. Admiral Powell stood on the bridge of the Eclipse. "Open a channel," he ordered. On the Council ships, screens lit up showing Powell in a black uniform with gold trim. "I am Fleet Admiral Richard Powell of Earth's United Space Command. I am here to deliver humanity's answer to your ultimatum." The Krell commander tried to look unimpressed. "And that answer is?" Powell smiled slightly. "Earth does not surrender." As he spoke, more ships appeared. Dozens, then hundreds of vessels, large and small, emerged from hiding places throughout the solar system. They formed a protective wall around Earth. This is deception," the Krell commander shouted. "Your race showed no signs of such technology." "That was the point," Powell said simply. In the Council ships, alarms began to sound as their sensors detected weapon systems far beyond what humans should possess. On Proxima Station, High Counselor Drestor received the news with rage. "How did they hide this from us? It doesn't matter. Prepare the fleets. The humans have made their choice. The Galactic Council now declares war on the species known as humanity." What Drestor didn't know was that humanity had been preparing for this war since before he was born. The Krell Dominion sent their battle fleet to attack the human colonies on Mars and Europa. Commander Victor Hayes watched from the bridge of his ship, the Defender, as 60 Krell warships appeared near Mars orbit. Victor was younger than most commanders, with a calm face that hid his sharp mind. "They've taken the bait," he said to his crew. "Signal all ships to begin planned retreat." The small fleet of Earth ships near Mars fired a few weak shots at the Krell vessels, then turned and fled in what looked like panic. The Krell ships followed, just as Victor had planned. "The humans run at first sight of our power," the Krell admiral told his fleet. "This will be even easier than we thought. Chase them back to their homeworld." What the Krell didn't know was that Victor's retreat was carefully planned. As they followed the Earth ships deeper into the solar system, they passed near Jupiter's moons. Victor smiled as he pressed a button on his command chair. Now, hidden among the rocks of Jupiter's moons, hundreds of defense platforms suddenly activated. They had been built there in secret over decades, waiting for this moment. Beams of blue energy shot out, cutting through the Krell ships like they were made of paper. "What is happening?" shouted the Krell admiral as his ship shook from a direct hit. "These weapons are impossible. Humans should not have this technology." At the same time, Victor's ships stopped their retreat and turned to fight. The weak human vessels suddenly dropped their outer shells, revealing sleek warships underneath with advanced weapons the Council had never seen before. "All ships, attack pattern Delta," Victor ordered. His fleet moved with perfect coordination, using maneuvers the rigid Krell military had never encountered. The Krell tried to send warnings to their other ships, but found they couldn't. Earth ships were using quantum entanglement communication, technology the Council thought was centuries beyond human ability. It couldn't be blocked or listened to like regular signals. In the command center beneath the Rocky Mountains, Admiral Powell and General Garcia watched the battle through a live feed. "The Krell are trying to regroup," Garcia said, pointing to the display. Powell nodded. They expected an easy fight. They've never had to adapt their tactics before. On the battlefield, Victor's ships moved in perfect harmony, hitting the Krell vessels from multiple angles. The defense platforms continued their deadly fire. Within 2 hours, 47 Krell ships had been destroyed. The remaining 13 turned and fled, engines burning at full power. As the damaged Krell ships limped back to Proxima Station, the Krell admiral faced a difficult call with High Counselor Drestor. "You were defeated by humans." Drestor's voice was cold with anger. They tricked us," the admiral said. "Their ships hide their true power. They have weapons we've never seen before. They move like no fleet we've ever fought." On Earth, President Ward addressed the United Nations. Screens around the world showed her calm face as she spoke. "Today we won our first battle, but the war has just begun. For a century, we have hidden our true strength, knowing this day would come. We built in secret while presenting an image of weakness. Now the Council knows that humans are not easy prey. We will defend our home, no matter the cost." In his ship near Jupiter, Commander Victor Hayes looked at the stars. The Krell would return, and they would bring a bigger fleet next time. But humans were ready. They had been ready for generations. The Galactic Council chamber had never been so loud. Representatives from hundreds of species shouted over each other as High Counselor Drestor tried to restore order. His gray skin had turned almost white with anger. "Silence," he finally roared, his mental voice cutting through the noise. The chamber quieted. "This setback is temporary. The humans caught us by surprise. Nothing more." A tall, plant-like being rose from her seat. "Temporary. Half the Krell fleet was destroyed. By a species you said was primitive." Her leaves shook with emotion. "What else have you been wrong about, High Counselor?" Drestor glared at Vexmal, the Xanthari intelligence director. The thin alien stepped forward, his eyes downcast. "We may have underestimated human capabilities," Vexmal admitted. "They hid their true technology from our observers. For how long, we cannot be sure. Decades, centuries," asked another council member. "How could you miss this?" On Earth, President Olivia Ward stood before the United Nations General Assembly. Screens around the world showed her speech live. "For over 100 years, Earth has prepared for this day," she said. Her voice was calm but strong. "When our scientists first detected alien probes watching us, we made a choice. We would show the galaxy only what we wanted them to see." She touched a button, and images appeared on screens around her. They showed massive underground cities, hidden shipyards in the asteroid belt, and training centers on the far side of the moon. While we appeared divided and weak, we were united and strong. While we seemed to advance slowly, we leaped forward in secret. The Council saw what we wanted them to see. An easy target. They were wrong. In space, Admiral Powell led Earth's fleet on precise strikes against Council military bases near the solar system. His ships moved fast, hitting targets and disappearing before the Council could respond. "Admiral, we've disabled their weapons platform," reported his second-in-command. "Should we target their supply ships next?" Powell shook his head. "No, those carry food for civilian stations. Target only military assets." This order surprised the Council forces. In their wars, civilian targets were always fair game. The concept of limiting attacks to military targets was foreign to many Council species. The humans could have destroyed our entire station, set a small blue alien on a colony near Jupiter. But they only hit the military section. Why? Word of human tactics spread through the Council worlds. Some species began to question the war. Others reached out secretly to Earth's diplomats. "My people wish no part in this conflict," said the ambassador from the Novali, a race of ocean-dwelling beings. "We were told humans were savages, yet you fight with more honor than the Council." Susan Miller, now working as a diplomat, met with representatives from 5 different species who wanted to discuss peace terms separate from the Council. "The Council is fracturing," she told President Ward through a secure channel. "Some members see this war was built on lies." In his private chambers, Drestor raged at his advisors. "Find their weakness. Every species has one." But a young council member from a race that had only recently joined whispered to his colleague, "What if the real weakness was ours? The weakness of believing we were superior to all others." Throughout the galaxy, news of the human victory spread. Species that had feared the Council for centuries began to hope for change. The galaxy was shifting, all because humans weren't as weak as everyone thought. Susan Miller sat in a small, dark room deep within the captured Council outpost. Her fingers moved quickly over the alien computer terminal. 2 guards stood by the door, watching for any sign of trouble. "I'm in," she whispered to herself. Years of studying alien technology had prepared her for this moment. The central database of the Galactic Council was now open before her. What she found made her blood run cold. For thousands of years, the Council, led by the Zinthari, had followed the same pattern. They would find emerging species, judge their value, and then either conquer them for their resources or set them against other species in endless wars. They'd done this hundreds of times, she told her team as they downloaded the files. "We're just the latest target." But there was something else in the database, mentions of a species called the Ardani. They had once been powerful, but were nearly wiped out by the Council centuries ago. The few survivors had hidden among other species, working in secret against the Council. Elsewhere in the galaxy, General Laura Garcia led a daring mission to a Council prison world. Her team of special forces moved silently through the fog-covered planet. "Life signs ahead," whispered one soldier, checking his scanner. Hundreds of them in those buildings. The prison compound held captives from dozens of species who had resisted the Council. Garcia's team disabled the guards with stunning weapons and began freeing the prisoners. In one secure cell, they found a human man with a wild beard and tired eyes. "Dr. Nathan Foster?" Garcia asked in disbelief. The man nodded slowly. 5 years they've had me here. 5 years since my research ship was taken." Dr. Foster had been a xenanthropologist, studying outer rim species when he disappeared. Everyone on Earth thought he was dead. "The guards think I'm just another primitive human," Foster said as they escaped. "But I've been learning, listening. Many species here hate the Council. They'd been waiting for someone to stand against them." As they fled the prison planet, Foster introduced Garcia to leaders from 6 different species who had been prisoners. Each had knowledge of Council weaknesses and secret bases. Back on Earth, Susan connected with the hidden Ardani through encrypted channels. Their leader, a being who looked almost like a normal human except for silver eyes, met with her in secret. "We have watched your species for a long time," the Ardani leader said. "We hoped you might be the one strong enough to challenge the Council. We have information that could help you." The Ardani shared maps of Council defense systems and codes that could disable their weapons. Susan realized this information could save millions of human lives. At a secure facility in Geneva, President Ward met with Admiral Powell, General Garcia, Susan Miller, and Dr. Foster. On screens around them were representatives from 15 alien species who had joined with humans against the Council. "The galaxy is changing," President Ward told them. "For too long, the Council has ruled through fear and deception. Together, we can create something better." Dr. Foster pointed to a star map showing Council territory. Their power is built on the belief that they cannot be challenged. Every victory we win brings more allies to our side. Susan added, "The Ardani have existed in hiding for centuries, waiting for this moment. With their help, we can strike at the heart of Council power." The screens lit up with messages of support from alien leaders. The humans weren't fighting alone anymore. A new alliance was forming, one based on respect rather than fear. The massive Council armada appeared near Saturn, thousands of warships from dozens of species. High Counselor Drestor had called in every favor and made every threat needed to build this force. At its center was the Zinthuri flagship, carrying a weapon capable of cracking a planet's crust. "The humans have embarrassed us for the last time," Drestor told his commanders. "We will end this today." Earth's long-range sensors detected the invasion force immediately. In the command center beneath the Rocky Mountains, Admiral Powell studied the holographic display. "They've committed almost everything they have," he said to President Ward. "This is their desperate move." Ward nodded, her face grim. "Then we make our move too. Activate the Stardancer network." Throughout the solar system, hidden stations powered up. For 50 years, Earth scientists had studied the strange physics of space-time, developing technology even the oldest Council races hadn't mastered. Powell's fleet moved to meet the Council armada near Saturn. Though Earth's ships were advanced, they were still outnumbered 5-1. "Enemy fleet approaching," reported a young officer on the Eclipse's bridge. "They're launching fighters." Admiral Powell stood tall, his voice steady. "All ships, defensive formation. Hold until my command." The battle began with a fury that turned the darkness of space bright with weapon fire. Council ships pressed forward, their numbers slowly pushing Earth's fleet back. Powell's ships fought well, but there were simply too many enemies. "We've lost the Orion and the Valiant," his second-in-command reported. "Shields failing on the outer line." Powell checked the time. "Just a little longer. Keep them focused on us." On Earth, millions of people had moved into vast underground shelters built decades earlier. What appeared to be major cities on the surface were largely empty, with automated systems making them look occupied. The Council forces broke through Earth's outer defense line. Drestor watched from his command ship, smiling coldly. "See, in the end, they were no match for us. Prepare the planet-killer weapon. Let's show them the price of defiance." As Council ships approached Earth, President Ward gave the final order. "Activate Stardancer." Now, across the solar system, the hidden stations fired up their cores. They created tiny, controlled tiers in space-time, micro-singularities that distorted gravity around enemy ships. Council vessels suddenly found themselves pulled in multiple directions at once, their engines unable to compensate. "What is happening?" screamed Drestor as his flagship tilted wildly. "Fix this immediately." But his engineers had never seen technology like this. One by one, Council ships were disabled, pulled into strange orbits they couldn't escape. Some collided with each other, unable to control their movement. When the Council forces finally reached Earth, they found their planet-killer weapons wouldn't fire. The delicate systems had been damaged by the space-time distortions. Admiral Powell's voice came through on all Council communication channels. "Your fleet is trapped. Your weapons are disabled. This is your one chance to retreat." From his damaged flagship, Drestor watched as the human fleet regrouped. Behind them, more Earth ships rose from the planet. The humans had held back a reserve force, hidden on their own world. "Impossible," he whispered. "No species has ever." Throughout the Council armada, ships from minor races began to break formation. They had joined this war through fear of the Council, not loyalty. Now, seeing the Council's strongest weapons fail, they chose survival over obedience. As the battle ended, the Council had lost over half its fleet. The rest limped away, no longer a unified force. The humans had defended their home, using technology the galaxy had never seen before. 1 week after the Great Battle, High Counselor Drestor sat alone in his private chamber on Proxima Station. His power was fading. Half the council races had already broken away, either joining the humans or declaring neutrality. Now, a message appeared on his screen, a request for peace talks. "How far we have fallen," he whispered to himself as he sent his reply. The mighty Xanthari, who had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years, were now forced to negotiate. The peace conference was held on a neutral space station near Alpha Centauri. Joseph Carter, the diplomat who had first faced the council's mockery, now led the human delegation. He wore a simple blue uniform with Earth's new symbol, a planet with stars arcing around it. Drestor arrived with a small group of advisors, no longer commanding the respect he once had. His eyes still burned with anger, but there was something new there too: fear. "We expected you to demand our surrender," Drestor said when they met, "or our destruction." Joseph smiled slightly. "That's not how humans do things." Instead of revenge, Joseph presented evidence of the Council's centuries of manipulation and exploitation. The files Susan Miller had recovered were displayed for all species to see. "For too long, the galaxy has been ruled by fear," Joseph told the assembled representatives from over 200 species. "We propose something new. A galactic covenant based on cooperation and respect." The terms surprised everyone. Earth didn't demand the Xanthari's destruction. Instead, they proposed a new system where all species would have equal standing, with protections for developing civilizations. "We won't repeat your mistakes," Joseph said directly to Drestor. "Conquering others doesn't make you strong. Working together does." The Krell Dominion, once the Council's military arm, had suffered heavy losses. Their representative, a battle-scarred commander, stood to speak. "We have fought many species," he said slowly, "but never one that defeated us, then offered fair terms. The Krell will join this covenant." One by one, representatives from across the galaxy agreed to the new terms. Even Drestor, seeing no alternative, gave his reluctant approval. The age of the Council was over. 1 year later, representatives from Earth and over 200 former Council species gathered on the newly built Unity Station. President Ward and Admiral Powell watched as Joseph Carter led the ceremony to sign the Galactic Covenant. "Today marks a new chapter for all our peoples," Joseph said as leaders from across the galaxy signed the document. "Not as rulers and subjects, but as equals united in peace." Later that evening, Joseph returned to his private quarters. On his desk was a report from Earth's deep space sensors. They had detected something moving at the edge of known space, something the old Council had ignored in their arrogance. "We revealed some of our capabilities," he said to Admiral Powell over a secure channel. "But not all." "Do you think they'll come?" Powell asked, knowing what Joseph was referring to. Joseph looked at the star chart showing the unknown signals. "Eventually. But this time, we won't face them alone." Throughout the galaxy, ships bearing the new Covenant emblem traveled between worlds that had once been enemies. Earth had taken its place as a leader in galactic affairs, not through conquest, but by standing strong when attacked and showing mercy when victorious. The Council had declared war thinking humans were weak. Their mistake had changed the galaxy forever.